The General Settings page under Main View GUI Design contains options to enable features to help better use DevTrack. Some of these features include enabling a native screen capturing program in both the Windows and web client. You can also choose to enable HTML in your description fields. Lastly, we can also designate whether or not we want to see the sprint view and also be able to sort choices for drop-down fields. The page layout dictates what the users see for each page in the Windows client. It can be configured to be either multi-tab, in which the users can directly update the fields for each tab, or to use a read-only one-page view where clicking on an edit button is required before updating. You can also set to use the simplified action forms for forwarding and closing. Using this option will require you to first set up these forms to only include fields you want the users to see. Using the detailed action option, all fields for all pages will be displayed when performing an action. The new forward and close forms are used when using simplified action. Instead of displaying every field you have configured for each page, these are the only fields that will appear when performing these actions. On the forward page, for example, to include only certain custom fields to use when forwarding, double-click on a custom field, make it visible, and link to any field on any page. The page setup contains settings that allow you to indicate which pages are displayed when submitting and editing. When submitting, the description page is always mandatory and cannot be unchecked. Check off any other pages which you think are important for submission. This page also allows you to configure the web client to display multiple tabs or just one tab for all the pages when submitting. When editing, you can define the order in which pages are displayed. We can also indicate if pages are always editable, read-only, or based on user preference. When editing, we can also choose to have separate tabs or one tab for all the pages. Lastly, if the task detail frame is disabled by a user in the web client, we can choose to pop up pages instead when editing. Although users have the ability to set up what they want to see in their task list, you can define a default set of fields to be displayed in the list view for new users. You can also use graphics to help better visualize or differentiate the different types of issues. For example, you can set different colors for different priorities. Here, for urgent issues, we will be setting them to be bold text and also in the color red. The description page contains a set of system fields that are always applicable to a work item. For example, the title and the description fields are always required and cannot be made invisible. You can always double-click on a field to change its name, and certain fields like the description field have features where you can enable the timestamp. We can also choose to create parent-child relationships between fields. For example, we can make priority dependent on version. For version 6.0, we're going to set it so that no issues can come in as urgent. We can also choose to use a standard lookup value so that you don't have to maintain the same field for each different DevTrack project. For example, we can double-click on version, choose to use a standard lookup value, select from a list of standard lookup fields, and just hit OK. The issue details page contains the history for a work item. The history is broken down into the changelog, tracking history, and various other sections. We can define the order in which these sections are displayed. The current status page is another system page that displays all fields relevant to progress and status. The planned time versus actual time fields are displayed here, and certain fields like time spent have a special option where users can quickly add time spent. With this option enabled, time will be automatically accumulated from different users entering a different time. If system fields are not enough for you, you can choose to enable additional custom pages and custom fields. On the custom page, you want to first enable it, then right-click anywhere where you want the new field to appear and click on Add Control. When defining a field, give it a name and select what type of field this will be. For fields that can contain multiple values, click on New here to add them. To move fields around, simply click on them and just drag and drop.